Hey, MCE crew, there is an old Chinese proverb that says there are no problems, there are only challenges. And we've got some good economic, well, we got some bad economic news, but it presents us with an opportunity, okay? So we're going to get into that in just a moment. You're going to want to hear it. I do want to take care of a couple of housekeeping items first. Number one, in the previous video, you may have seen me put up a picture of a beagle. Every time my beagle barks, you're going to hear it on the videos because beagles are loud. Call him the money hound. And when he hears something that what I'm saying about finance and economics, and maybe he agrees vehemently or disagrees, he's going to bark. And we're going to put him up here most of the time. Another thing I want to point out on a more serious note, as you know, I've been a big advocate for making everything an asset, okay? And I got a comment just the other day from one of the channels that is subscribed to this channel. We really appreciate all of our subscribers. Hawaii Preppers Network 808. I want to make sure I say that right. And she was talking about, you know, really utilizing the space that you have to produce food, okay? And again, this is not a gardening channel or an agriculture channel, but this is an important issue, especially, now let's get into the bad news that has an opportunity wrapped in it. There is a lot of speculation that we're going to go into a recession in about 6 to 8 months, okay? And I think that there's a lot of validity to that based on the fact that the Fed is going to have to continue to raise rates in order to get inflation under control. And let's define a recession, first of all. It's 2 quarters. This is the technical definition. It's 2 quarters of negative growth, negative gross domestic product growth, okay? 2 consecutive quarters or more. So we're looking at a recession. This presents us with an opportunity, especially if we're 6 to 8 months out. In a recession, assets usually become less expensive to own, certain assets, okay? Think real estate. Real estate may very well become less expensive to own over the next 6 to 8 months throughout the remainder of this year once we get into a recession, because there'll be less demand, because interest rates will be higher, okay? Other assets, you may see stocks, certain stocks that you are interested in acquiring or acquiring more of become less expensive because the demand for products may decrease as we go into a recession. So look out for those opportunities, okay? It is very important that you keep an eye out, because these are the times when people who are savvy economically, financially, this is where they make money. I want you to position yourself so that when asset prices fall, you are able to take advantage of it. Our mission here is to win in every situation on our road to financial independence. Now let's talk about another asset, one that we talk about often on this channel, gold. Russia is quietly making the case for owning gold. Now, one of the things on the channel that we really promote and are advocates of are doing what the wealthy do. And by the wealthy, I'm talking about real wealth, okay? I'm not talking about most of this celebrity or athlete wealth, not talking about fancy cars and, you know, big wardrobes and parties. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about solid generational wealth, okay? Now, who's building that? Well, the Warren Buffetts and the Charlie Mungers of the world. I'm not a fan of these guys. Some of the things that they say, Charlie Munger he seems like he's almost in favor of full-out communism and authoritarian style government in many of the comments he makes. But we cannot ignore the fact that he's very adept at investing. Okay, so we're going to take a look at that. Charlie Munger, banks, central banks. Okay, these are organizations that we may not like, but they are doing the right things in terms of amassing assets that are appreciating in value. So Russia, like I said, they're quietly making the case for owning gold. The head of the Russian parliament, Pavel Zavalny, made comments recently addressing the subject of economic and financial sanctions. It's clear that gold is playing a large role in protecting Russian wealth. Again, we always talk about the role gold plays. Now, on the, I think I put it up on the community tab, how in the last 10 years, gold has returned, was it 10 years? Yeah, no, it wasn't actually. I think it was 5 years. In the last 5 years, gold has returned 15.77%, I believe. Somewhere in the neighborhood of the rate of real inflation. Okay, so real inflation is about 16%. So gold has pretty much matched that in the last few years. So it's done its job of preserving your buying power. Okay, gold is not meant to, you're not supposed to be sitting there watching gold go through the roof like Bitcoin or some other speculative investment that you might make. Gold is there to preserve your buying power, to preserve your wealth and protect your wealth. And that's how Russia is using it. And that's how all of these central banks around the world, including the one here in America, the Federal Reserve Bank, that's how they view gold. The role may get bigger. Gold's role may get bigger, and it could create a paradigm shift in how the world does business. Russia has a lot of natural gas and oil. It sells a lot of natural gas and oil to the world. Zavalny made it clear that Russia is happy to sell in hard currency. And what is hard currency? Not dollars. So he says, if they want to buy, let them pay either in hard currency, and this is gold for us, or pay as it is convenient for us, meaning Russia. This is the national currency, the ruble. As for friendly countries, China or Turkey, which are not involved in the sanctions pressure, we have been proposing to China for a long time to switch to settlements in national currencies of rubles or yuan, China's currency, the yuan. With Turkey, it will be lira or rubles. Turkey's currency is the lira. The set of currencies can be different, and this is normal practice. We can also trade Bitcoins. Okay, so what didn't you hear in that quote? You didn't hear anything about the dollar. Zavalny said Russia has no interest in dollars. He said, quote, dollars turn into candy wrappers for us.
Pow.
In an op-ed published by Market Watch, Brent Aarons said this might not mean anything, but it could mean a lot if other countries like China and India follow Russia's lead. Okay, so we'll see how the international community interprets this weaponization of the dollar. The Biden administration has set forth in weaponizing the U.S. dollar. And Russia, all of these countries are sitting back and watching Russia take the brunt of this policy. And at the end of the day, it's going to be very deleterious for us. Again, if you are from the west side of Baltimore like I am, deleterious means not good, because it's going to erode the dollar's perception as a strong global reserve currency. Who's going to want to own something or denominate their assets in something if that currency, that fiat currency, can be turned against them and used to make them bow to pressures that political pressures, policy pressures that they might not be in favor of. Now, this guy Aarons calls himself gold agnostic, but he said there is no question it has its uses. Gold is completely private. This is Aarons saying this. It is completely independent of the SWIFT or other banking system. Remember, SWIFT is that electronic system, messaging system that the banks use to speed up transactions. And despite the rise of cryptocurrencies, gold, remains the most widespread and viable global currency that is not controlled by any individual country. Okay, so he's laying out the case that, it's interesting because gold used to be something that folk looked at and said, all those weird guys over there collecting gold, and they're so far out of step, and all these other derisive kind of characteristics placed on those who found gold, and silver for that matter, to be what they truly are, is real money, not a fiat currency. Remember, the dollar is a fiat currency. The dollar is backed by nothing more than the expectation that America is going to continue to enforce taxation on its citizens. Okay. Russia, in some ways, is moving to back the ruble with natural resources. Whether that will make it the reserve currency, I doubt that. But I believe we are going into an era of regional currencies where you will have big currencies that are out there, and organizations, governments, and individuals can choose to use various things to trade in. Rubles today, maybe I'll go somewhere and use dollars tomorrow. The dollar's not going to be, it's not going to disappear, but it's not going to have the prominence that it currently does. And as we've discussed before, how will that affect you in your life? Well, if we're not able to stack up as a country all of these debts to finance this incredible golden age that we've been living in here in this country for quite some time, you're going to see less money going from the federal government to the states, and thereby less money going from the states to the municipalities, cities, and counties. And that's going to result in fewer services at your local level, probably higher taxation at your local level as well, because they're going to be trying to make up for that. I used to be a volunteer firefighter, and a lot of people don't know, most of the firefighters in America are volunteers. You only find career stations in usually big cities or metropolitan areas. So think about that, and think about the fact that America might have to move to structures that are not backed by the government. Again, something I'm always in favor of us trying to get away from as much as possible, because our government of late has proven that they're going to try to lord over us, and they're going to demand that we do certain things we might not want to do in exchange for government largesse, and even in some cases in exchange for access to our bank accounts. Take a look at old Justin Trudeau. I call him Justin Trudeau because of the way he's acting up there. The bastard son of Fidel Castro. The U.S. and other Western powers have tried to lock down Russia's gold. But as Aarons explains, that is virtually impossible to effect, despite some laughable suggestions that the West might somehow sanction Russian gold. There is no way of tracing the identity, nationality, or provenance of bullion. You might want to, I'm going to read that again and see, you might want to apply this in some way to your life. I don't know. I'll just read it again and you take it for what it's worth. Despite some laughable suggestions that the West might somehow sanction Russian gold, there is no way of tracing the identity, nationality, or provenance of bullion. American Eagle coins or South African Krugerrands can be melted down into bars. Gold is gold, and someone will always take it. Carry a Krugerrand to any major city, anywhere in the world, and you will find people willing and eager to take it off your hands in return for any other currency you want. Okay. At the current price, the world's gold supply is valued at $13 trillion. Can you imagine where that price would go if gold once again became the global reserve currency? Or even if it plays a more prominent role in the sale of oil and natural gas. So it doesn't even have to get to the point where it's a reserve currency. It could just, displace some of the dollar's authority in the trade of oil and natural gas. Remember, they call the dollar the petrodollar because most of the countries in the world trade oil in dollars. Given gold's position in the world financial system, it just makes sense to own some in your portfolio, Aaron said. The argument isn't that we want to own all gold or mostly gold or even a lot of gold, but that we want at least to own some gold simply for diversification. You have to decide how much gold is appropriate in your portfolio. You, or if it's appropriate at all. You need to meet with your financial professionals and decide that. There are other assets that you could amass as well. Right now, maybe in your life, it may be more important to establish a business, okay? And you can always talk about starting or getting more information about the financial services industry from us. We'd love to talk to you about that. Maybe debt is somewhere that you want to concentrate your money for now. So I'm saying that so that you understand that you have to look at this from a personal standpoint. However, gold is, thanks to this Ukraine conflict, gold is, becoming more of a discussion point in terms of wealth building. Now, that was the cat. The dog really didn't have much to say on this video, but the cash cat, okay, I think she likes the idea of gold. So anyway, guys, that's all for now. I will talk to you soon. To learn more about how you can achieve financial independence, check out these videos we recently posted on the Money Changes Everything channel.